What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Go's been delivering the big names all week. This is our last interview of the week, and we're coming strong. It's Belal Muhammad, a number one contender in the welterweight division, double-digit winning streak that he's got going on. How is he not next for Leon Edwards? We're going to find out. Belal, I looked on Tapology just to make sure nothing had broken or whatever. They got you there at 300 against Leon. It says rumored, though. How close are we, man?
I'm just hoping that Dana's just waiting to do one of those epic announcements. But for me, it's like, I think that's the time that's going to happen. I feel like I'm ready for it. He said he wants to fight at 300. It makes sense, but nothing's finalized until I get a contract. So once I get that, then I'll be satisfied. But for now, it's just knowing that was the last thing Dana told me. I'm next. And Dana's not a man to go against his word. So we're just waiting for everything to be finalized, set in stone, and I'm ready to go.
Well, Dana has gone against his word before, but he doesn't do it often.
Not with me.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Because he did say women will never fight in the UFC, and it turns out they've done pretty good on that one. But anyway, all right. So you're already training, I imagine, right?
Yeah, I'm always training. I'm always a guy. I'm always in the gym no matter what. And I got we're a small gym in Chicago, so when one of us have a fight, we all have a fight. And I got a couple of teammates that got fights coming up. So we got some work in earlier with those guys. But I'm always living in the gym regardless.
Will you go to the Middle East and train there? It seemed like you had some good camps there, some new looks, a rejuvenation. Will you be doing that as well? There's plenty of time before April.
Yeah. I mean, I'm planning for sure to go to Dagestan, to go down there and train with those guys. Like you said, it's to get a new look, to get different feels. And those guys, they don't let you take any days off or any easy rounds. So that's always perfect for me. And last time I trained with those guys, we got a dominant finish, and I plan to do the same thing.
And just not to jinx anything or whatever. Okay, so April is 300, and then Leon, in that, I guess, announcement or whatever he was doing out at the soccer game, he said, "I want to do it at coming back in Birmingham and defend here, in his home crowd." I'm just curious, did any of that just happen to appeal to you, or is it still the sooner the better?
I mean, he can't defend anything once he loses it. So I think for me, it's like, I'm going to win the title at 300, and he can do whatever he wants to do in Birmingham. But I plan to defend it in Abu Dhabi after 300. So we could write our plans out, but there's only one guy who's going to get what he wishes.
Yeah. No, I guess what I meant was bypassing you. Forget it. Dumb question. I was just wondering because they're talking about this whole stadium fight or stadium scenario or whatever. And
stadium. I don't know. The dude had like 6 people at his victory parade. There ain't nobody coming to watch him at a stadium.
Well, him and Aspinall, I guess.
Yeah, maybe Aspinall for sure.
All right. And so how does this work? You just have to continuously wait for the UFC to hit you with some sort of a contract, or is that already in place? What about the not the X's and O's, the dollar signs? Has that at least already been worked out?
Bro, I'll fight Leon for free. That don't matter to me. For me, it's just getting what I've earned, what I've worked for, and that's the title shot. Once I get that, that's all that matters to me. That's all I look at right now. My manager obviously takes care of everything else. And I mean, I'm working with Ali. Ali's the best in the game. So he's going to handle all that. So my job is just to be ready and show up on that date. So for me now, it's just continually growing, continually getting better like I've been doing every single fight, and not overstressing, right? Because that's what I've always been doing my whole career. Is like I've always been looking at what's next. I know what's next now. It's the title shot. So for me, it's like, you just give me the day. I don't care when it is. I'll be ready for it. Like even my last fight, we took it on 3 weeks notice for Gilbert Burns. And it wasn't like, it was one of those moments too, where I was over there and I was like, there was still a lot of unknown before taking that fight. It was like, oh, it could be this or it could be that. We don't know what's next yet. But when I took that fight, they're like, you beat Gilbert Burns, you're next. So now there is no more unknown. We know I'm next for the title fight. Now it's the date. It doesn't really even matter to me. I'll fight him next week. I'll fight him tomorrow. Just give me that title on the line and I'll show up. I'll be ready to go.
Did you, when you were watching Colby and Leon, did Leon look beatable to you that night? Where like were you already picturing like what you would have done to him? Some say it was Colby didn't bring enough out of him. Others say Leon just doesn't always look great, you know, in some of his big fights. I mean, you hear different versions of everything, but how did you see it through your lenses?
I mean, I seen it the way I knew it. Like I thought I was so ready for that fight, for that backup role, that I would have walked through either one of those guys. I've been saying it forever that Kobe sucks. And Leon just showed it. And what did he show it with? Just keeping his distance and, you know, letting Kobe play his game. And Kobe played his game, which Leon's game is to be a slow pace, kick, run, kick, move a little bit, shoot for a takedown. That's how Leon's been fighting. When you're looking at Leon's last, 4 fights, even the Nate Diaz fight, he had moments there in the 5th round where he's gassed out and he could have lost that round. How many rounds has he lost out of his last 3 fights? Usman beat him 3.5 rounds in that second fight. And even in the 3rd fight, I thought Usman won that fight to me, if I'm being honest. And then Colby, I think, took 2 of those rounds. So if we're looking at what he's looked like, he's not been a dominant champion. He hasn't been this dominant killer that everybody's like, oh man, he's on his 10-fight winning streak and been dominating. No, I haven't had any moments in my last 10 fights where you're looking at, man, maybe this guy won or maybe that guy won, or I wonder who won. No, I dominated all these guys. Leon hasn't done that. I've been way more dominant than he has. And when I show you guys what I do to him, you guys are going to be like, oh, I guess he was right this whole time. Same way I was right when I said Kobe sucked.
Belal, it's been a moment since you guys have been in the cage together. Can you maybe share with us what you believe is the biggest difference in both of your guys' games since then?
Since then, it's just seeing who's grown more, right? When you have the fights that I've had, when you had the different stylistic matchups that I've had, I've fought Damian Maia, who's predominantly a grappler, so I had to do a camp fully on just grappling. I fought Wonder Boy, who's a certain way striker, so I had to do a full camp on just striking. Then I had to fight Luque, who knocked me out before that. So mentally, I had to hop over that hurdle. Then I had to fight Sean Brady, who's this undefeated killer, who everybody said was going to be the dominant guy who's going to walk through me. Then I had to, go through a camp just thinking about that and being mad about that because I had to fight backwards. So, and then I fought Gilbert Burns on 3 weeks' notice. Like the path that I had to go since the Leon fight was way different than him. What did you fought Nate Diaz, who you should have been able to walk through him. You didn't. You fought Usman, who was killing you. He had you broken mentally, and you landed a head kick. Okay. Then your rematch, you did what you just did to Kobe. You made it a lackluster fight. You didn't fight. You hit and moved. And I think it was more so Usman wasn't himself that fight because he came back a little bit too soon. And I still thought Usman won that fight. So if we're looking at growth, if we're looking at complete martial arts, if we're looking at who's bettering themselves, I've gotten better every single one of my fights. He hasn't. He's looked the same. And well, people are, oh, well, his takedown defense looked a lot better in that fight or this fight. It's like, no, the guys he's fighting didn't look the same in those fights. The guys he's fighting, like, that wasn't Kobe. That Kobe, there was no pace at all from that fight. He was backed up, scared the whole time, and just didn't figure out how to break the distance at all. Usman in the 3rd fight was so hesitant because he was thinking about the head kick. And when you get knocked out, I understand it because you come back too soon. And it does play a factor into it. And I think it did play a factor in. He didn't start really fighting until the 4th and 5th round. And I think Leon having to fight somebody like me, who is hungry, who is been fighting the best guys in the world, it's going to be a different type of fight for him. And he's going to realize that when we're in the cage and his motivational speaker that he has in his corner in between rounds, that they don't even really give him advice. They're like, oh, you got beautiful, Leon, beautiful. When you have coaches like that give you that type of advice in between corners, that just tells me how weak mentally you are. And you need those type of guys with you. Like, have David Goggins in your corner because you're going to need more motivation than ever when you fight me.
Well, I've heard you say that you have no problem fighting through Ramadan. And I wanted to know if you could maybe explain something for me. When you say that, does it mean that 100% of Belal Muhammad shows up, it's just kind of more inconvenient and difficult? Or does maybe lesser of you show up, but you just feel that you're that much better and you can do it? Like, at the end of the day, what kind of Belal Muhammad shows up when you go through that?
No, I think I'm a better version of myself, a better version of myself as a human, as a person, as a Muslim. And when I'm in the right state of mind and my body's at peace, that's when I'm at my best. And during Ramadan, that's when I'm at my best. And every single fight I've had during it, every camp I've had during it, even in the Gilbert Burns fight, I had the last week of it during it. It's like mentally, the power that I gained from it, it comes into the cage with me. The tranquility I have all week leading up to it, it's the different feel because I'm not stressing about the fight. I'm giving my time and my energy and my spirit to God that whole month, so I don't have to sit there and stress about the other stuff that I shouldn't be stressing about. So I think it's only going to make me that much better. And mentally, physically, it's going to tell me that I'm doing stuff that these guys aren't doing. Leon's not going to be doing that. Leon, who's already weak mentally, he's going to need a sip of water after every freaking round that he's in at practice. Me, it's cool. I'm going to push through it.
I know a lot of fighters don't like to forecast too much, but we all feel it's human nature to have goals and all that. Have you ever thought about what kind of champion you want to be? What your legacy would be, places you want to fight, people you want to fight? Like, have you ever thought about that process?
Yeah, I always do. I think when I'm looking at myself and my legacy, I want to be known as one of the best welterweights to ever do it. And even when you're looking at my resume, the guys who I fought the best welterweights that have been in my time. Wonder Boy, who fought for the title twice. Damian Maia fought for the title twice. Gilbert Burns fought for the title once. Luque weighed in for the title fight. He was on a huge streak. Sean Brady, I think, eventually will fight for the title. I'm fighting the best of the best. And I don't even have the title yet. So once I get the title, I beat Leon, who beat Usman, who was considered one of the GOATs. I walk through him, and then I fight Shavkat, who's on this undefeated streak. I beat him. My resume is going to be better than all these guys. And I'm going to be a guy that's going to be able to leave that name once at the end of it all, where the people will be like, man, we should have respected him more when we had the chance.
Does any of this to you, you know what happened to Tony Ferguson, right? He won 12 straight. He did win an interim title, and then all of a sudden, things didn't go his way, we'll say, right? 7-fight losing streak. But what I wanted to ask you was, does any of it sit within you? You don't look like a guy that looks back, but still, does any of it burn inside where this could have already come sooner? You could already be defending and building that title legacy.
No, I think for me, like being religious, it holds me to, different standards where I look at myself and I trust God and I trust God's plan for everything. And I look back even at my losses and I've seen how much I've grown from them. And I look at every single fight where the stuff I've changed after it and the opportunities I've been given. And I think that it was all meant for this one thing. It was all meant for this one time. And I think the version of myself, the version of a fighter I am right now, it's the perfect time for me to become a champion. If I think back 2 years ago, even like the guy that I am now would dominate that guy. So when I tell myself and I try to, you're always a patient. That's what everybody in this world is. We always want stuff now, but I know that God's plan is better than my plan. So when he thinks it's right for me, that's when I'm supposed to have it. And I think that it was all meant for this moment. And once I get it, it'll be the blessing. And it'll be, when I look back at everything I had to go through, it'll be like, all right, this is why. These are the reasons why it was delayed.
Do you aspire to be a champ as well? Or do you want to be a champ that kind of tries to match what GSP did and head in that direction, just racking up title defenses?
I want to beat the guys that they think could beat me, right? I want to beat all the guys that they think are better than me. And, even when I'm champion, I'm sure there's still going to be doubters. So I want to just get to that point where there's nobody else in my division. And then, hey, if it happens, but for me now, it's only looking at the guys that are ahead of me and the guys that they think are the best welterweights in the world. Because I know I am, but I'm going to show you guys. But I have to show you guys why I am.
Cejudo had some really kind words to say, and he's usually either clowning someone or every once in a while praising someone. But he pretty much says you're, the unretired Khabib. You're the closest version of what Khabib was like. But obviously he's retired and you're not. That's pretty high praise.
Definitely when you get that type of praise from a champion and a legend like Cejudo, but yeah, I don't know. To me, Khabib still beats me up whenever we're in the gym, so I'm not close to him yet. But to be, looked at as by somebody like Cejudo, who's I think is like an MMA genius, and he thinks that we're similar in some ways, I'll take it for sure.
Will you be an active champion? I mean, you've kind of been active the last few years, or is there something behind the scenes we don't know where champions, once they get there, it's like, okay, let me enjoy this ride for a while. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, for me, I definitely want to be active. I want to be fight. I love to fight. Like I said, even when I took the Gilbert Burns fight, my manager was like, bro, you're crazy, man. Like, why do you want to take this for? Like, you're on the streak. You're going to put this on the line. I was like, bro, I love this. Like, I love to do it. And when you're looking at guys from the past and guys, like you said, like a Tony Ferguson, you never know when your time's going to be up. You never know when that switch is going to hit. There's no rhyme or reason for it. There's no like book that tells you like, all right, if you take this amount of punches, you're done. Or you take this amount of hits, your body's going to break down. Like when I'm healthy, when I'm, still loving the game, I want to be in the game and be in the cage as much as possible. And I love it right now. So like the only thing that's holding me back from fighting is these guys that are avoiding fighting me. So once I'm the champion, the guys that are chasing behind me, I'm going to let them catch.
Do people that don't tune in to remember the show with Jason Anik, do they miss your bully picks on Twitter? Because that was kind of a big thing years ago.
Yeah. No, I mean, we go through the bigs on there. I'm definitely going to bring her back this year. But, we've grown. You guys got to check into the show. We got a game show. It'll be fun to have both of you guys on there. But, yeah, we're trying to do something different with the show. Hopefully this year we'll be on Fight Pass. But we're going on the road, too. So, like, me and Jason have been going to all the pay-per-view events and doing, like, fan shows in the crowd over there. So, you guys got to more so be with us live to get the bigs.
Gotcha. All right, that's cool. No, I mean, is that official? You think you will be on Fight Pass?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing a lot of stuff with extra rounds and stuff now, and we've been doing partner stuff with Fight Pass at the end. I mean, with Remember the Show at the end of their show, and they like it. They like the idea, and I think the fans love the idea. So, we're working on some stuff to get it solidified on Fight Pass.
I wondered that maybe it had come to a halt because you had started to become a host on some of the fight night shows or whatever. And in doing so, then you can't be as opinionated as to who will win or lose. Although that might be more the commentators. I don't know. But there was
no, I can definitely be opinionated. And I always tell people, always tell me, like, are you afraid to make picks? I mean, bro, I make picks all the time. I don't care. Like the fighters, it's awkward whenever I see the fighters or I invite them on my show and they'll come on my show then see if I pick against them. Like, bro, are you serious? I was like, bro, I'm sorry, man. I'm just making the picks. But now I got guys now that are messaging me, like my brothers and stuff, like, yo, are these real picks or are they like, are you picking with your heart or your brain? Yeah. And I was like, all right.
Give us a good story of someone that was tripping because you went against them.
Oh man, I had the heavyweight. Blagojevich. I saw him in Vegas.
Blagojevich?
Blagojevich, yeah.
Okay.
And he walked up to me, and he shook hands, and then he looked at me and he said, "Brother, you picked against me." And I was like, "Huh, dude? I didn't even know you look at my picks." And it was like the most awkward thing in the world, but I never picked against him again.
And so that was it. It was just a little jab. No, nothing.
Yeah, no. Then I had like Marvin Vittori once tell me that, bro, how come you didn't circle Giga? Like, and I was like, no, I circled Giga, but my circles are like squiggles. So like that, yeah. So like people are paying attention. I didn't realize it, but yeah. And then fighters take everything personally, right? Mm-hmm. Like all fighters, even if you pick against them. Even me, when I look at somebody, I'll go back and I'm like, let's see who picked against me after this fight, or who did this against me. And you take everything to heart. But it's always funny when they come at you and they like, talk to you about it.
Right. The last thing I'll tell you, I think Goes has one more, is that face-off you and Leon have where you just kind of keep staring at him. Man, dude, I've never seen a fighter act more cool. It's like I don't know, like a lot of fighters try so hard with either getting in your face, flexing, the shove, and you just kind of did it all so slow, almost like a trained, seasoned actor. You kind of keep staring at them or whatever. You weren't heavy breathing or anything. So I got to ask, like, is that something fighters behind the scenes practice or anything? Or was that was just you at that moment?
No, I mean, that was just me at that moment. But like, there's so many guys that like fake it, right? And there's guys that want like, oh, I got to do this, or I got to say this, or, that's out of character. For me, even with me, when I first started fighting, I was always so calm. And I would tell myself like, man, why am I so calm? But I would like try to hide myself up in the back by like putting up music super loud or like punching the walls. And my coach like, bro, like that's your strength. Your calmness is a strength. Like you don't have to be emotional. And I used to get those fights earlier when I would think that I should be emotional because I watch guys like a DC walking around swearing at himself, or even like a Paul Felder where been in the back room with him where he was just like so mad. I'm like, maybe I need to start being that way, but that's not who I am. So I don't want to fake it. I want to just be who I am and be real to myself because even fans see the fakeness in a lot of these guys.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was really cool, really cool. Has anyone ever brought that same thing up that I said exactly, or am I the only geek?
No, you're the only one really that brought it up.
Really? Folks, seriously, you got to check this one out. And if you want another comparison, another cool one I saw back in the day, I think it was probably 32 when Frank Trigg faced Kazuo Misaki, and they faced off. And Trigg wore his trigonomics hat, so he kind of walked up to him, but it got in Misaki's forehead. But same thing, man. No heavy breathing or everything. It was just really, really smooth. Now I just tell people if you like to get in someone's face, wear a hat because you're kind of poking them in a way, and now you're putting it on them if they want to react to it or not. But I've seen a lot of stare downs, and those two are right up there, man.
Well, you run a risk with the hat though, because if he slaps the hat, there's nothing goofier than a guy's bill getting spun like Daffy Duck. You know,
exactly.
So you gotta watch that. But last one from me, in regards to game plans, as far as like when you go to Dagestan, do you go there with a game plan and they just help formulate that, like they help build that, or do they have influence on your game plan as well?
No, Khabib will give me what he thinks, what he sees, and I'm definitely taking every advice that he shows, and he'll show me certain things. But a lot of their stuff that we do when we go live or we go hard, it's like we're working. So, and there's not like over here, I do a lot of specific drilling with my team, my guys here. When it's over there, I got to be ready to go. I got to be ready to be in shape. It's an uncomfortable feeling because a lot of these guys, they're not who I'm with every single day. So every round is a lot harder, and every round feels like it's a new fight. So I think that's an advantage for me because a lot of fighters, you don't get that uncomfortable feeling until you get to fight night, where it's like, all right, now it's finally here. I've been thinking about this guy for a month, and I haven't had you've had looks, but you haven't had the specific guy that's in front of you right now. For me, when I'm over there with those guys, every single one of those guys is a beast, and they all have a different style. And every round, it's like you had that uncomfortable feeling of like butterflies in your stomach. Here, when I go with my guys, my teammates, it's like, who's a hard round, what they do. You see them every day. You know what they're good at. You know what they're not good at. So it's more of a calm feeling. But when you go with somebody new, a different fighter, a different training partner, it gives you that, all right, in your chest a little bit. So it makes you go that much harder. It makes you get a little bit more tired, and it makes you have to think more on your feet.
I lied. I got one more. When it comes to Khabib, have you ever had a moment where, not in a bad way, but you just kind of disagree with him? Because I have to imagine that's tough, because if Jordan tells you the best way to shoot a free throw is with 3 fingers, you got to listen to him, right? He's Michael Jordan. If Khabib says something like that, do you ever feel that pressure? Like, man, it is Khabib. I got to kind of listen. Like, have you ever had those types of moments?
No, I've had the only moments of uncomfortability that I've had with him, because like everything he usually says is so spot on, but it's like when practice will be done and he'll be like, all right, get in the cage, and he'll wrestle me and take me down, and he doesn't go to the bell rings. He goes until you figure out a way to get up. So he'll take me down. He's on top of me and literally mauling me, and it's like the bell rang, and I was like, all right, finally round's over. Then he's like, no, keep working, keep working, keep working, keep working. Get up, get up, get up. And he's sitting there, talking about what's his next coffee order to the guy that's outside the ring, and you're feeling like, bro, all right, could you get off me if you're gonna do that? But he's so good, and sometimes I have to work 20 minutes to finally get up, or 20 minutes to figure out a way to get up. But mentally it pushes me, because like you want to just tap out just because his knees are squeezing you, or you're dead tired, and you're like, bro, all right, I move this way, he moves that way, I move this way, he moves that way, and it's like he's like a book where for every counter you have, he has a counter. For every action you have, he has a reaction, and his reactions are always the best reactions. And it's like quicksand. When you're moving a little bit, he'll give you that little space to move a little bit, but he'll want you to do that so he can keep torturing you, and you're like, you're getting, you're cutting weight, you're in the middle of fight mode, and you're like, come on, man, get off me. But it only makes me better. It only makes me grow. And even having Hernandez will tell me, like, he does that to everybody. The next time you went with him, he worked 1% more, or you made him work 1% harder. That means you're getting better. So don't be down on yourself. He's literally the best in the world. So make him just work a little bit more next time. Make him push a little bit more next time. Move a little bit more next time, and you'll see the results in the big picture.
Belal, your parents are Palestinian. Have you received any support from other fighters, coaches, anybody in the MMA community for what's going on the other side of the world?
Yeah, honestly, it's amazing because I get so many messages from fighters, or even when I go to events and they'll ask me about it more, and they'll see what I'm doing, or even like a fighter like Henry Cejudo posting it on his page saying, even when he gave me that Khabib compliment, and he said I'm next, and he's like, he's doing it for his people over there. And I get so many other fighters that'll message me videos, or they'll ask me about a video. And the thing is that people just need to be educated. People need the media, the news is so like one-sided that they're not showing both sides. They're not being neutral. So when the world sees what I post, or what other people post, or even like Jake Shields, where he was like, bro, I just been doing my research, I've been seeing it. It's cool to see that people are open-minded, people want to see, or people actually really care, because it's not really even about being a Palestinian or being Muslim. It's just about being human. And people are literally dying every single day, starving every single day, and hopefully the world starts opening their eyes and seeing it and wanting to make a change.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, you have a seminar coming up. Can you tell us about it, and what anybody that's interested in going, what they can expect?
Yeah, for sure. We have a women's self-defense class, especially
Nice.
now day and age. It's all for women, and Muslim, non-Muslim, for any type of women, that moms, grandmothers, come in. We're gonna show you some good techniques, cool techniques. It's free. You can just come in. It's for a charity, so there'll definitely be. It's called PCRF, Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. For they have cancer centers in Palestine, and they're still sending supplies there, giving water there, food there. So there'll definitely be a charity there for them. But the class is free for you to come and learn. And especially in a day and age where there's so much violence out here, even in America, women, men, like, you need this. And these are life skills you're going to learn. It's going to be a 2-hour class. So come in, have a little bit of fun, learn something that maybe, hopefully you won't have to use. But if you do need to use it, you'll be able to defend yourself.
That's tremendous. And I think women should, and anyone that happens to listen, take him up on this, because I've seen those types of self-defense classes, and they kind of like dumb it down to certain situations and what you can and can't do, and what you should and shouldn't do. And I actually saw my girlfriend go to a couple of these, and it's very, very helpful. And I think any woman should not have to feel like you're always looking over your shoulder, because it is some tough times we're in. So I definitely co-sign. That's awesome that you're doing that. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. It was great catching up with you. And hopefully at UFC 300, I know it's going to be you versus Leon Edwards. We've been waiting for this one.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you again, and thank you to all the people that still support me, still push for me. Staying on the train with me. We're about to get to the destination.